2, 1.
Hello and welcome back to the Boys Podcast. I am joined by my homosexual lovers. This is me and Gian and Travis and Josh.
How you doing?
We may begin.
Yeah. All right. Beginning.
Okay. So our first segment for today will be Say It With Your Chest, and Travis would like to begin that.
All right. So as you can know, my grievance today is dumb drivers. All right. So last week I counted up a tally of at least 3 near-death experiences of myself. For those who don't know, I drive a truck. I drive a pretty beefy boy. All right. And for some reason, people think that I cannot crush their car. One time I was driving down beach, right? And then this silver Prius just cuts me off. There was construction work and just like right in front of me. I'm like, bro, what's your problem?
As you go, Priuses.
Yeah. And then the second time, I was pulling out of my neighborhood to go to school. And then this green minivan just speeds down. It's like, and as soon as I'm turning left, the lady lays on her horn and literally mouths, what the fuck, you know? I'm like, whoa. I looked at her, I'm like, whoa, calm yourself. And then she looked mad, and then I just went to school. You know, that's number 2. Now number 3, it was on pretty much Thursday, right? It happened on Thursday. I was driving
In the rain.
I was driving in the rain. I was driving along Western, you know, going to Buena Park, had an appointment. And then out of nowhere, this Ford Escape just decides to speed up as soon as I'm merging into his lane. That scared me.
I can tell how pissed off you are because you remember the make and model of the car.
Absolutely.
Every time. All 3
Hey,
times.
when an NDE happens to you, you remember every detail. That's about it. Moral of the story: don't be a stupid driver.
Burgundy Honda Fit.
All right, that's me. I'm good. Yeah.
Maybe a nice dark green Nissan Leaf. Maybe.
How about a Scion? Like a Scion?
Scion TC?
Yes, sir.
Zion Williamson.
All right.
Josh, you can go with yours.
Okay. So, I need to preface this by there's about 53 of you viewers who saw the first iteration of episode 2.
Yeah, this is the new one.
It didn't go to plan. I'd like to apologize for making that unpleasant. And we'll move on. But let me give you a little summary of what my point, and this is my grievance from the original episode 2, and that's the mass hysteria caused by the mainstream media about the coronavirus, COVID-19. And I think that the mass hysteria is irresponsibly causing people to go completely hysterical and to be a detriment to those around them, to society in general. You go to any supermarket or any grocery store and it's almost like a ghost town. Like I was in Walmart today and almost every non-perishable was gone. There was no more water. There was like 2 water bottles left, and it was a complete ghost town. And I think that's caused by the hysteria that's caused by the mainstream media. So,
man.
Other than that,
Don't be stupid.
We'll talk more about the coronavirus later, but yeah, the mass hysteria caused by it is really, really dangerous in my opinion.
All right.
IG may go next.
Yeah.
So my grievance is also in regards to the coronavirus. Basically, what's really annoying about the coronavirus is actually the people and how they're reacting to it. And yeah, I understand like people have the right to react in their own ways, but it annoys me how some people bring up the fact that, oh, the coronavirus has low mortality rates, or the flu is worse, more people die of tuberculosis, or I guarantee you this will all be gone in a month. And going back to my last point, which is like, oh, it'll be gone in a month. I don't know how you come to that conclusion. Like, I want to see in your crystal ball, and like, I want you to point out where you synthesize that information. Because if the CDC and the World Health Organization doesn't even know like when it'll subside, like how can you make such a confident, statement about it? That's one. 2, I want to address the people that say like, oh, the flu and tuberculosis is worse. Well, yeah, it is. But I will say this. There are treatments and vaccines for both. Do you have that option for the coronavirus? No, you do not. you know its symptoms, you know how people react to it, but at this time, there are no vaccines and treatments for the coronavirus. So I don't see how, like, you can, like, lessen the validity and significance of the coronavirus just because you think 2 other diseases are worse. That annoys me. And, like, people who repost that on social media, like, don't lessen the significance of this because it is indeed very serious. And last time I checked, like, you guys weren't, like, certified healthcare providers, and that's very annoying. And my last thing is, like, this relates to teens, or, like, people our age. Like, when they say there are low mortality rates, well, obviously your chances of dying are low, your immune system's A1, and we get all that. No, everyone acknowledges that. But the thing is, you're not the center of the universe, right? You're practically a walking pathogen, and even though you might not be susceptible to, like, all those symptoms and, like, dealing with the, like, most negative consequences of the coronavirus, you can transmit it to the elderly or people with already previously, like, existing respiratory complications, and it'll be worse for them. And yeah, you might be fine, but they might not be. And you place them at, like, at an extraordinary risk from being in how do I say this, like, bad health, and that's not nice. And I just hate how, like, some people are super ignorant about that. And yeah, that's all I have. It's just really annoying.
Yeah, so now it's my turn.
All right.
So
hit us with it.
So my grievance for the week is, you know, when it's raining and there are, like, puddles all over school and stuff, and then
I wore the wrong shoes one day. Man, my socks were soggy.
yeah, exactly. Like, no, okay, let me get into that. So, you know, when you're walking, right, and you're doing your best to make sure that your socks don't get wet, and you're doing so good, and at the end of the day, the last period bell finally rang, and then you're walking out of class and you step into a puddle and now your socks are wet, and it just makes me very upset. And that's my grievance for this week.
You get that squishy feeling in your shoes?
Yeah.
Don't those feel nice?
No, it's not.
I love how deep your grievance is.
Yeah, my grievance is very deep.
So passionate and mind opening.
Yeah, it's very nice.
It's very, very self-aware,
You know?
very mindful.
So I think I might invest in some rain boots,
Yeah,
red ones.
I love your
Okay.
problem solving there, sir.
Yes, it's very problem solving.
All right.
Right. I want to get this out of the way nice and quick. All right. This would be real simple. Gian, if those of you who listened to the first one or watched the first one, I said I'd get Gian a gift and nothing would stop me. That day has come today. There you go. I got you a gift.
Should I open it, sir?
Open it.
Got 'em, yeah.
All right, bet.
We have entered vlogger territory now. We are recording everything for views.
Oh,
I don't know how to use the black one.
oh, they shoot things. Oh,
I think that's a very controversial thing to say, sir. I don't know if you're saying that.
Josh.
oh dear God.
Oh dear yes.
Oh dear God.
Oh dear yes.
Oh dear God.
Okay. You can do whatever you want to do to that shirt in your own time.
Hey, you know what?
Thank you so much. sir.
Yes. Now open up the next one if you like said next one.
The Lakers one would have been fantastic.
His birthday's coming. Both their birthdays are coming up.
They're
so-
in April, everybody.
That's true.
Oh dear God.
Pivot.
My mom is gonna want to take this.
Pivot.
Oh, thank you so much, brother.
Hey, what's up? Show the people what you got.
I actually like this one.
It's
We'll
one
show
of my
you an
most
outtake from their love session later on.
hands down like top 5 favorite scenes in Friends.
Pivot.
I love this scene.
Pivot.
Gets me every single time.
Now I'm gonna tell you what happened. All right.
This is a very nice.
So
Thank you
that,
so
that
much.
one Tuesday where it was
you
like
so
really
much.
raining, I met up with. I was leaving the parking lot and then I was about to enter my truck and then I saw like Derek and Celine. They were like, "Hey, we're about to go to Target to buy a trifold." I'm like, "Sick!" And then I saw Cedric and Viet in the back. I was like, "Oh, it's a party!" And then I was like, "Oh, you want to come with us?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I was like, "Oh my god, let's say we can get food after." And then I went to Target. I was walking around. I was like, "Oh, there's a friend's sweater." I was like, Gene got a Central Perk one. I don't know if he got the FRI, the whole spelling one. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was about to get that, and then I was like, I
was
don't
very
know
basic.
Gene's size. I guessed off of my body to his body. It's like he's a medium.
I mean,
Okay, I'm correct. Whew, that feels good. And then I saw.
33% chance, everyone.
Yes, it was. That was very, very, very low chance.
It was either a small, large, or medium.
Yeah. Woo.
He's not an XL.
And then the next, I pulled back and I was like, oh, there's a medium here. And it said pivot. I was like, hey, that's a good one. And I was walking around. I was like, I want to get him a Clippers thing or something related to Clippers. And then Celine was like, oh, you could just piss him off and buy something Lakers related. I was like,
Should've
Yeah,
done that.
but
That would have been great.
that would have been really bad.
I would have appreciated that.
I would have given it Simon. Yeah.
Yeah, but then I saw the Clippers, what Derek said, the warm up shirt. I was like, I don't know if he has that, so I got that for athletic wear. So enjoy.
I'm gonna be wearing that.
Yes,
Just
sir.
now.
You got your sweater.
Mhm.
You got your AirPods case.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right. That's
We may
what.
just play basketball.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
We should record playing basketball. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, that leads us to our next topic. Actually, we're gonna be now talking about the podcast and the
What we're
Well,
gonna
no,
be
that's
doing.
not-
what we're gonna.
Let's start now.
No, we can do it now.
Okay, sure.
And then we can talk about COVID
Segway.
next.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna be talking about like the podcast and what we're gonna do with it and how we're gonna go about the whole situation. Josh has some things to say, so
What you guys say, man?
Oh, well, okay, so obviously with this whole COVID-19 situation, many schools in the nation have closed down for a period of time, and yeah, our school is one of them. But luckily for us, we have our regularly planned spring break was the week after next week when this is being recorded. So we have a lot of free time, which means we're gonna record a lot of pods in succession to each other so that we can get them out over a scheduled amount of time. So yeah, just expect more pods coming, and don't expect like a big 2-week gap in between like the last two episodes.
That's another thing we were talking about beforehand. Like we were saying like, oh, we should probably front load a lot of videos just in case, like, you know, the dry spell that happened between the first and the podcast we don't talk about. Yeah, we don't talk about that one. I also got another thing in my car, you know, the phone mounts. I got that so we can finally record us in the car talking. I know Gian has one in his car. I got one in mine now.
Again?
Carpool convos.
Oh, carpool combo.
Oh yes, and we also just like Travis said, we have some new segments coming in. We have one of the ones we have planned is carpool convos, which is going to be
Us in a car for an hour or something like
us
that.
in a car, someone driving,
Wait.
recording the talk that happens, and more than likely it'll be rated R. For,
It will not be PG-13 like it is.
it'll be uncensored and
Yeah.
unruined and just raw.
You're gonna hear a lot of driver
Raw,
rage
uncut.
from me.
Uncircumcised.
Raw. It's gonna be raw.
It's gonna be raw.
uncut and uncircumcised.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
Also, we plan to have our
Hey.
first. Wait, what'd you say?
What'd you say? Hold on.
No, you
Also,
can continue.
we plan to have our first guest on the pod.
Next episode.
In the next episode. So look out for that. We won't reveal who it is just yet.
It's a surprise.
It's a surprise, but just know it'll be a banger with this person.
Hey.
Robert Downey Jr.
Dude, I wish. Imagine he just shows up, right?
Just blast through your roof like
He lands in my backyard. Is like, hey, I want to be on it.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, I would.
Oh, we were also. I was thinking about making more segments, like reoccurring segments that you guys can look forward to. Like,
Yeah.
in a normal podcast.
That's I think that's a good
For
shout.
sure. This is most definitely still a work in progress. We're never done with our product. We're gonna always be adding on to it and we're gonna keep moving and progressing as content creators for you
I'm
guys.
not gonna lie. In the first one, the camera mount was a stool and a crutch.
Now we have an actual tripod.
Yeah, we do. I bought one at Staples yesterday with Omar. Oh man, that's a story in itself. I'll get to later. Ooh man, yeah, anytime you hang out with Omar, man, the man acts.
Haram.
That man commits haram.
Haram.
Okay.
Yeah, so guys, just make sure you tune in whenever we upload, because there's gonna be a lot of good times ahead, and there's gonna be a lot more uploads. So yeah, just keep on hit the subscribe button, keep on watching our videos, and there's gonna be some good times ahead.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, and if you
lots of new
guys-
things coming up.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
and like if you guys like have any suggestions, like feel free to suggest like more segments for us to do, because we'd be happy to do them.
They also DM any of us if you want to be on it. We'll talk about it with each other, and then like kind of schedule it out when you're free, when we're free, and then we'll record it.
Yeah, if you guys want to be on the podcast, and we'll make sure to leave our social media ads in the description down
Yeah,
below. So yeah.
And if it's more than it's a big group of people, I got a couch that we could all sit on, set it up, and go from there.
Yeah, make sure you tune in. All right.
All right.
So next topic, right?
Oh yeah, what's the next topic gonna be, Josh?
What we got, buddy?
Well, obviously the state of the world itself is kind of in panic mode at the moment.
Doom and gloom as per what the sky is showing.
Yeah, and the rain and the rainy weather and the gloomy clouds don't really help out with anything. So, yeah,
Do that
COVID-19, coronavirus. What are you guys' thoughts?
I got a story based on the Omar story that I was telling you about. So I went to Staples.
Blackface again.
So
Stop saying that.
stop it.
We're gonna make some very controversial things.
Yes. Okay. I picked up Omar during 6th. We made a plan. It's like, hey, he needs a. You okay, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good.
He needed a mouse, so I was like, we could go to Staples and buy a mouse during 6th period if it was raining. It was raining, so we went to Staples.
A mouse for what?
He needed a mouse. Minecraft, you know. Yeah. Dash.
I thought he needed like a mouse.
He like
course.
one like this,
Like a
one that
pet
I have.
Yeah, rodent.
I thought you guys went to PetSmart or
Oh
something.
no.
want a
Something
mouse.
something
I thought they
electronic.
went to
A
Disney.
rodent.
And then once we got into Staples,
In the road.
we went directly to the mouse section. Got him a mouse. He needed some graph paper, and then I lost him in Staples. I lost Omar. And then I went in this aisle with the Keurig, where like there's like office supplies like a Keurig and stuff. And then I looked to my left, empty shelves. I looked at what it was selling, toilet paper. I was like, wow.
They sell toilet paper at Staples.
You'd be surprised.
They even got Staples.
Yeah, they even got Staples, man.
Who would think of going to Staples?
No,
for
but you
toilet
know what I did see?
That's
I saw a full shelf of tissues, untouched. I'm just saying, it's disgusting, but a good substitute for toilet paper if you're out. Use tissues.
paper? Or you could use water.
A bidet. You could
Yeah,
invest in a bidet.
I have a
Or
Japanese
just one of
toilet.
those detachable shower handles.
Josh,
Dude, imagine what a luxury it is to have a bidet.
ask Omar. He has two.
No, honestly, like
I have two.
in the Philippines, in my house in the Philippines, like we have two, and
It's
that's
life-changing.
stream.
Y'all
That's
got
stream,
bidets?
dog.
Y'all got bidets? We haven't
Yeah.
had bidets yet. We have a bucket of water.
You haven't hit it yet?
We haven't discovered bidets
We have a
yet.
tab.
You haven't downloaded the DLC yet?
Acabó.
The DLC is
Yeah, the DLC has
that's
a
a
whole
little
lot
bit
for
down
you.
the line.
Yeah, we haven't gotten DLC yet. So
Dude, I want to invest.
shout out to my peeps in Iloilo.
Mm.
Okay, so
That's
yeah,
that's my take.
not okay about that tissue thing. Yeah, I guess in a pinch it
In a
will work.
pinch. And I'm not saying use it all the time.
You know, but
It has the same thickness as toilet
It's,
paper.
it's
and
the
like,
same thing.
it's
I don't
too
know why you
rough
guys
though.
chip in.
It's too rough.
I understand
It's the same
it's
thing.
better than paper
one
towels
ply,
though.
low quality hotel
This
toilet
dude,
paper you got.
This man is
Hold
worried
on,
about
hold
his
on, hold on.
sphincter.
this dude legit has a sensitive ass. He's a sensitive ass.
No, here's why. I'll tell you. It's a little TMI, but here's
His
why.
anus needs to be
Here's
crossed.
why. I'll tell you. Okay, so big dude. I'm a big dude, right? As mentioned on the first pod, I'm a big dude,
You're a big boy.
right?
Anus
Quite
Big
cleanser.
dudes
smart.
either have back problems, knee problems, or stomach problems, or ankle problems.
Yes,
And I
yes,
happen to have
yes.
all, I happen to have all four.
What?
Yeah,
You have ankle problems? You never say that.
I do.
What?
It's not my ankle. It's my heel. Actually, it's my Achilles.
After I
Oh,
broke
yeah.
them in basketball the last time we played.
Well, no.
Imagine breaking Josh's ankles.
I can honestly say,
The court went
Oh my
crack
God.
down the middle.
I can honestly say, knock on wood, that I've never gotten my ankles broken. I'm not to the point where I'm on the floor.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Simon got nutmeg.
Anyway, you got
What?
nutmegged?
Yeah.
What's that?
We'll tell that story later
Like,
on.
okay.
It's when the ball, like someone's
Like
dribbling on
goes
you.
in between your legs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's happened to me.
Who was that?
Yeah.
Who
It
did
was,
last time?
we were playing
Oh,
2v2 for
Algian
season.
did it one time.
Remember
Algian did it to
Wait,
me
Gian,
many
remember
times.
the guy that we were at the
I do
park
it to
with?
people. It's not.
Yeah.
It's
Has it
not. I
recorded?
don't know. I think
Um,
nutmegs are just.
Okay,
Jeremy.
we're having two conversations.
Yeah, we are. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let me
Okay.
finish, let me finish
Go,
what
go,
I'm
go, go.
Okay, so yeah, I have all four of those problems.
What's
right?
your problem with tissues, man?
Huh? No, I'm not talking about tissue. Well, I'll tell you right now. I have all four of those problems, right? And the second problem, the third problem, which is stomach problems, means that I use the restroom to take a poop about probably 5 times a day.
Whoa.
5 times a
Five?
Yeah.
That's cat. No,
Bro.
no.
I'm telling you, you could ask my girlfriend.
Smells
Dude,
like
I'm lucky to get one in a day. Okay?
No, no, no.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah.
There
You
you
could
go.
ask my girlfriend. You can ask my girlfriend.
I don't want to.
It's 4
That's
to 5.
just-
It's
that's
about
super
4 to
TMI.
5 times a day.
I understand,
right?
like, your bathroom, like...
And
Oh,
with
God.
that being said, I have to wipe a lot, so my sphincter gets sore.
Are you... Wait, hold on. Do you scrunch or fold?
Dude, you're crazy if you
Fold.
scrunch. If you
You
scrunch,
You gotta
you're-
fold. You gotta fold it, man.
If you scrunch, you're absolutely insane.
No, I
because
understand
How
the
do you know
scrunching
your
part.
finger will not slip through the cracks?
Oh, that goes for folding. That goes for folding. Scrunching, you scrunch it up, you get like the little, you know.
No, if you fold it, then if it's thick enough, you won't go through.
Yeah, and then you
Well,
gotta
of course.
wipe again. Hence the tissues. The tissues
what if it
already are
sli- what if it
pre-folded.
slips?
But then there's shit on your finger.
But who
What if it
says it's gonna
slips?
go? Your finger's gonna go through.
How
That's what
about
I'm
everyone just invest in the bidet? They're not very expensive.
There you go. There you go.
Anyway, so yes, I I need quality toilet paper.
I'm just saying it's
I'm
better
at
than
home.
paper towels. Paper towels are the
I use
real
$100.
killer.
Yeah,
This
You can't-
man's
you can't-
birthday's coming up, and he wants Charmin Ultra Strong.
And ultra
Soft.
soft.
And ultra soft.
The man needs soft.
Strong?
I need soft.
Oh, soft.
They're strong and
Ultra
soft.
soft.
Anywho's.
If
Yeah,
it's
don't
even-
use paper towels because those won't flush.
Those will clog.
Yeah.
Adam ruins
But
everything.
they won't flush
He
though.
talks about that.
They won't flush.
More
So-
flush.
The
Well,
paper towels.
Yeah.
If you get it wet, it
We're
just
talking-
like
but
it
we were
stays
talking
wet,
about
but like it
tissues.
doesn't like dissolve.
You
Yeah.
put it in the
Yeah.
trash can.
But that's
That's kinda gross.
It's gross.
That's-
'cause then-
that's
Wait,
why
who's to
you-
say you're wiping and throwing it in the trash? Hold on.
I didn't say that.
Nah,
Oh.
he said that.
He said that.
Oh,
Oh,
No,
you
but
said- you
like
said to
in
do
a
that.
public restroom.
Oh,
I think that's pretty nasty.
okay. Those. No.
That's pretty nasty.
In the public restroom, not just put it in.
You walk
put it
out
in the bowl.
with your
No, but-
Actually-
no. It's not even that. Cause like sometimes there are actually like trash cans next to the toilet itself in a public.
if
restroom.
Those
it's
are
a
for
single-
women's things.
if it's a single
No.
restroom, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, That's what I'm talking
No,
about.
but I just never use public restrooms unless I need to pee.
Those favor the bold. I'm a bold person. So sometimes it's come calling to me.
So coronavirus.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Coronavirus. Are you finished with your thoughts?
Yes, I totally am.
Okay.
Let's not go into any more detail.
Gian,
What you got,
What's
buddy?
would you like to talk about coronavirus without going?
What do you
have to-
What do you have to add?
What do you have to add on top of your thing?
My medical expertise.
Let's
No,
tell
no.
us.
I mean,
Wash your hands.
Okay. So you guys have all seen like those hand washing advertisements and like a bunch of celebrities are getting into it, which leads to like the public like really investing their time into washing their hands. Or,
I
like,
saw Ryan Reynolds' Instagram post. That was
yeah. So I mean, there's nothing I'm gonna say that you don't already know, but just please don't disregard the significance of it. It may have a low mortality rate, and yes, you can recover if you have a good immune system, but it's still a very serious health issue. And obviously, like the CDC and the World Health Organization are trying to get to the bottom of it. And like, I don't want to kill from the
from the happiness.
yeah.
Then don't.
No, but like, actually, no. It's dark humor, but
Oh.
at the same time, it isn't. I was scrolling through my comments, or there was this one post about coronavirus on Instagram. I was scrolling through the comment section, and then I saw this one comment that said, "Imagine being that guy being the first guy who ate bat soup in China and not realizing that you were about to start a global pandemic." I just thought that was really funny, and then like people got heated.
Who would eat a bat though?
Yeah.
Like that's the
I
crazy
mean,
part.
I
I
don't want
I wanna
to
try
judge
that.
cultures. I don't want to judge cultures, but I hate bats and.
Well, you hate bats because of this.
Bats. No, I don't hate
Bats are
I
practically
hate it.
rodents.
I
hated
I would
bats.
try it personally.
I did
You
hate
would?
bats.
Yeah.
Bats are.
What?
I would try a
No.
lot of food.
I would try a lot of food too, but bats are kind
Yeah,
of.
That's
Tried
a
me.
there's a
I hate
line that you
bats in
don't
general.
cross.
I hate bats. I hate Batman. I hate
What?
baseball bats.
You hate baseball bats?
But the reason why I don't like bats is, have you ever looked at a bat? Have you ever looked at a bat?
Dude, some of them are cute.
No.
I want a pet bat.
Yeah, but the majority of them are ugly.
Yeah, in the
Oh
Philippines,
my
like
god.
in the Philippines, there was a basketball court like right next to my home, like in my village, and
Village.
oh yeah, sorry,
In the village.
in the village, and like back then, like there were a bunch of bats around like what 5, 6, in the evening, right? And like it was so funny because like me and my grandpa would make a game out of it. Like when we were done playing basketball, like we would just throw like basketballs. Like,
my
up to the
god!
bats, and they would like fly around us.
Oh, yeah.
It was a good
What?
time.
Let me wait, maybe I think I know why I don't like bats or why I always had
It was very
always had a
funny.
problem with bats. Because
Tell
in
me
the
it's vampires.
Philippines, no, in the
Okay.
Philippines, where my grandmother's like
It's
where my-
swooped up
what-
your grandmother.
It's swooped up your grandmother.
That's why I'm terrified.
My
no,
grandmother
anyway,
was
so
taken
like
away from me.
my grandmother and my grandfather on my mom's side, like their family home
We're taken away from you.
is
By means of that.
death by bat.
Imagine having to write that in the mortuary.
Public transportation.
bat.
Bat.
So,
Okay,
so
continue.
my mom's family home on her side is in kind of like the mountains or kind of like the back country of the Philippines, right? And
Countryside.
which is away from the city where I live. In the
So it's
city.
very rural.
Yeah, it's very rural. My my Lolo, my grandfather had a farm, right? And the big church in their little small town of like
55.
500.
I'm not sick. Don't worry.
The one church or the one of two churches they had, the one we went to, like it's very like old. It's actually a very nice church and it's very beautiful, but the cathedral is really big and open and it's very high ceilings and you see bats chilling and sometimes during the service they like fly down and then you could hear them making noises and I was always creeped out as a kid and then I saw a bat's face and
Then that was just a big no for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to put that.
This man is gonna conquer his
That-
fear by eating bat soup.
No, no.
Oh well, okay. So, kind of moving on from the bat stuff, like to go to address what you were saying, Gian. I think this problem can be heavily affected, or not necessarily solved, but it could be. Everyone can help by doing their own.
Effectively.
It could effectively
Slow it down.
Slow it down, or it could be like
Okay. Here,
aided.
Here,
Like
I'll say this. Wait, yeah, go on after.
I think that
I'll say it
people can help the problem if they take their own individual parts and making sure their hygiene is safe. And I think that's
Hygiene's just a thing.
what
You
I'm
gotta
saying.
have
I
it.
think
Yeah.
that's with many problems. Like I think climate change would be helped out if people did their own part and was nice to the environment. And in the same boat is lots of people can help out if you're being safe yourself and you're encouraging people around you to be safe. And I think that'll help us out a lot in fighting this virus.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think actually. Go ahead.
You want
No, I was just gonna say something really quick. Like, it's already too late to stop the spread. All you can hope for is to contain it,
Contain it, yeah.
Slow it down.
slow it down,
Yeah.
and like Josh said, just do whatever it takes to
whatever it takes.
Yeah,
whatever it takes to contain it.
But-
No more, no less.
yeah. Just do your own individual parts of what you can control. It goes for a lot.
Yeah.
You were gonna say something?
What?
No, what I was saying was like because it was such a big deal, I think is the reason why everyone's making fun of the situation and why everyone is like, why memes are coming up because people made it became too big of a deal. I
Like,
personally
super
think
fast.
instead of being more effectively contained, like what Josh was saying, it became too big and then became like a meme.
We're gonna graduate on Skype.
Dude, I hope not.
Oh yeah.
I said VR chat.
And let me talk about like some of the effects of this. Well, for the first thing, class of 2020, like
This year
as we
sucks.
Imagine
dude,
me
our
in college,
senior year,
dude.
Our senior year, I'm just talking for us right now. Our senior year absolutely sucks. So many things happen that are so unfortunate and that are so far out of our reach. It's just really untimely and unfortunate for us. Like our many concerts of me and Gian's, because we're in band. Many concerts have been canceled for us. We don't
Really?
Yeah. Like
We
I'm in
have
jazz
one
band.
concert.
I'm in jazz. No, I'm in jazz.
A
Band.
lot of concerts. The one.
Like I'm in
Just the
jazz
one.
band.
Oh,
and
okay.
we have
Well,
upcoming
jazz
events.
band.
Yeah, that's a different story.
Yeah, and I
We
don't
have
want to kill
upcoming events
myself.
that get canceled, and I know a lot of people at school who are a part of like extracurricular activities like
Track.
sports.
Don't, dude.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
already,
like-
I'm so sad. I was ready to kick ass this year. I was in jumps. I was living it up.
Kick.
kick ass. I was living it up at jumps. Jumps is so much fun right now, and I've like been killing it in hurdles. But I've only had one meet.
Okay,
and
I'm
that
not
was
even
it.
gonna lie. I heard my pelvis right there.
You good, bro?
Yeah, so there's just a lot of people who I know like who are in theater or it's not we don't theater right we were in dance
last
who are
year.
in arts
We had theater last year.
Yeah.
No
Late
way.
in
didn't
first
really-
period.
Yeah,
didn't
we-
really do
I
nothing.
think. Oh,
Late in
really?
first period. Yeah.
Jacob Cho was in it.
Valerie Tan was in it too.
Really?
No, but
Yeah,
then, like,
she
this,
was.
this, but this is what I'm thinking though. Like
No,
when.
can I finish my point?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, lots
You
of
sounded
people.
like a kid.
Lots of people are really
Permission
affected.
granted.
It's really unfortunate. Like, there's people who are in the arts, who are in dance, or in choir, sports. Lots of things lots of things are being affected by this, and it's really unfortunate for especially the seniors in those programs who are getting their senior year ruined basically because of this, and it's just unfortunate and untimely.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess. But then no, what I was gonna say was like when a big event happens though, it's hard to like think about if there's anything bigger that's gonna happen or if it's gonna go back to normal or what normal would even be afterwards.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just thought that was a cool thing to think about
No,
personally.
yeah.
Or like fascinating, or like
Fascinating.
in a good way or a bad way.
No, fascinating in a intellectual way.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Because
understand.
if you're gonna say cool way, I was about to smack you. No, but I want to say like
No, no.
wait, dude, you what?
No, I was gonna say like yeah, it is kind of cool that there's a big event and then another big event could happen afterwards, or
Yeah.
it could go back to something a lot less. I don't know. I just
This is literally,
I like thinking
this is
about social
literally
things.
like one of the only times in human history where this has happened, and especially now in our day and age, there's nothing comparable to it.
True.
Well, yeah, because this is the
Really?
only time in human history we've had, or we were ever capable of like containing a disease. This,
Yeah.
yeah. You know,
Well, I mean, we're a lot
was
better
a
off
swine
than the
flu.
people in.
Black
But that's
plague.
not even to the same level.
about. It could have been. is all
Not
I'd
not
say.
okay. But the mortality rate as of now, yes, but like the how fast it spreads, no.
Yeah.
I guess.
Go.
I mean, we're a lot better off than like the people who had influenza in 1918. So.
Oh, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. When the principal came over the loudspeaker yesterday and was like, "Oh yeah,
That's
everything
crazy.
has been postponed," my heart sank.
When was that?
That was like that was
sixth
yesterday.
period.
I know.
Fourth,
Oh,
it was fourth
sixth?
period.
Oh yeah.
That was Miss McGee. Fourth
That was
period.
Miss Kwan was fourth period as well. She came over the loudspeaker and was like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
by the way,
No, but sixth period too.
I was gone in sixth period."
Oh.
So
Me too.
I just want you to know I wasn't there on Friday.
oh well,
Oh, you weren't?
Oh yeah.
Miss Kwan came over the loudspeaker and said, due to this, every sports event from the rest of March to the entirety of April has been postponed until further notice. And as soon as she said postponed, my heart sank and I was about to cry. Like I looked over across in my French class. I have a few softball people in there too. I looked at Lizzie and she just like looked at me and we just like shrugged at each other. I was like, what do we do now besides practice? Bless you.
That was rude.
That was a beefy belch though.
I'm fucking there, you.
That's
Ito din ang table, puta.
No, but it's like I'm just. If anything, I'm more sad than anything because like this is my senior year, man. That's, like, it's not. It's not. This sounds like a really like whiny part, but like that's just not fair. I was like pumped up. I was putting in like, people in jumps are like normally the last to leave, but even after like most of jump people left, but mostly myself and Gabe were still there, and like Derek too, because like normally I'm Derek's ride home, but like we just kept practicing and like putting our all into it because like Gabe and I've been doing this for like 4 years,
Yeah.
and to see this like taken away from us is just like really sad.
Imagine
Yeah,
being
it
in
is,
college,
man.
dude.
We're gonna
That's
have a big
insane.
game
I
against
mean,
them.
the
it's
college
just
level.
it's unfair to everyone.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
I feel bad for Justin too. The man is like practically lives for tennis.
I know, but he was very sick for the past few games anyway, and luckily
Oh.
they were canceled,
Mm.
so he wouldn't have been able to play.
And then something. So yeah, like we said, school got canceled, and it kind of something
Sucks.
like yeah. It
I'm
sucks.
mad about that.
Some
And
people
it
are really
annoys
upset.
me, and it annoys me how some people are celebrating it because just because they don't want to go to school and they don't want to do homework, right? Like
You will.
Spoiler alert, you will.
Schoology.
Yeah.
like of course I don't. Sometimes I don't want to go to school, and sometimes I don't want to do my homework either. But school is just essential to society in general.
It's
like,
our only form of social life,
exactly.
if you think about it.
Yeah, like if we weren't in school, if we didn't have school, it's not. We would have to be put out there by our parents, and our parents would be our only teacher, and we'd just be reflections of our parents.
It's homeschool.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that ties into other things that
That's
we
not-
could talk
yeah,
about
that's
next
like-
time.
Other time.
But
Other time.
my point is, I don't like how people are just celebrating that school's out without looking at the actual,
The big picture.
the big picture of the
I'm
whole
quite happy.
situation, because they don't realize how this not being in school for a week affects people. Because there's some people who only eat at school.
Yeah.
Because
But
of
the
the
school
free
came
lunch.
out and said like,
Yeah,
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's good, and the our school district is providing lunches for those students, and which is I think is a great
It's
thing.
11 to 12, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They can
something
show
like
up and then get the lunch.
there are 2 places they can go show up at.
Sick.
There's multiple, isn't there?
Yeah, just 2.
Oh, there's two. Okay,
Damn.
but either way,
Is that-
that's a great thing, I think.
I thought that was hand
And I don't
sanitizer.
like how people are celebrating it like with only themselves and their laziness in mind. Because some people use school for food. Some people use school to just escape their situations at home. Some people use school to interact with the people they would maybe the only people they ever loved in their who are in their lives. So
That's
I
true.
think it's
I never
I think it's selfish to only think of yourself in this situation.
But like the only good
But
thing
then
that could
again-
come out of this is like graduation. If we didn't have like online stuff, our graduation would be pushed
Yeah,
back a week,
which
and
I
that would
don't-
suck.
That would suck. Because
Would
I have some summer things that would get pushed back.
You know.
Were
But
you gonna say something?
with the online stuff, like just it allows like we're not at school, but we still are technically going to school. So if it's online,
Yeah.
Distance learning.
Yeah, I forgot
Distance
what I was
learning.
gonna say.
Sorry.
Fantastic.
I,
Yeah,
It's-
so we don't want our graduation pushed back.
Absolutely not.
Because for me, that would cut into some things I have planned over the summer and some programs that I want to do, and I don't want to lose that opportunity.
Mhm.
So
yeah.
yeah, And especially if you're in college. Gene, you were gonna say something about college?
No.
Those in college who are
No.
Oh yeah. No, cause like Travis, like he's like heavily involved in sports, and it just reminded me of like a bunch of posts that I've seen on Instagram, like athletes who play at the collegiate level, right? Even though they don't make it to the big leagues.
Collegiate. That's a big word, brother.
That's not, but okay.
I know. That's
No, but like,
collegiate.
is it really?
It's collegiate.
In my head, like when you read something like in your head,
I think it can be pronounced both ways.
It's
Continue.
fine. Continue.
I've heard. I swear to God, I've heard it's.
Yeah, me too.
people-
I
people-
have.
yeah, but anyways, like people who play at the college level, it's really sad because even though they might not make it to the NFL, the NBA, they're still one of the best athletes on planet Earth. Period. Right?
Yeah.
Like I don't think anyone can debate that.
Yeah.
And the fact that their senior year is being cut off when some of them had a chance to like push for the March Madness, right? They could have gone like high up in the ranks, and just for that to be cut off for them when it could be possibly the last time they ever like play competitively, like that just really sucks. And like
my cousin's going through that right now.
Exactly.
My cousin's a pole vaulter at Idaho State. Yeah, Brooke Anger. She's actually really good. She's coming home right now. Actually. All right. Yeah, and it sucks for her because like she was calling my mom like yesterday, and she was like pretty sad. I was like, at the moment.
Well, yeah,
Season's
you
canceled.
invest so much of your time from the moment you step into junior high or even like even as a child, you know,
club
like
sports and stuff.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like exactly, and you invest so much time, and this is like the climax, and
It just gets taken all away from you.
it's
It's
just
just like,
gone. And yeah, like I feel like we can all come to like a consensus that there should really be the health precautions are definitely necessary, but nevertheless it's still disappointing that all of that gets stripped away.
we understand.
Even-
but
even-
it's still be
We
bad.
understand, but we're still
Yeah,
distraught about
you
it.
can't not be bummed about it. That's what I'm trying to say.
And also talking about sports, it's like there's so many different levels of people who are affected by this because it's truly a worldwide issue and crisis, right? Because
Yeah, it is.
people are not working for a given amount of time, and that's some people can't afford to not work, and those people especially who live paycheck to paycheck are absolutely devastated by this. And we don't know what happens to those people because we've never faced something like this. We don't know what happens to. Okay, so for example, a local high school in our district, one of their trips, they were gonna take a trip with their band, and that got canceled. And we don't know what's gonna happen with their money. We don't know what's gonna happen
I think
after this whole
it
thing.
might probably like get saved or something. Because were the flights already booked and stuff?
They're
Whoa! That didn't sound good.
So basically what happened was they didn't know if they were going for a whole week, but then when they finally got the green light, they're in the bus, they drive to the airport, and they wait there for 2 hours, and then they're told after 2 hours that you can't go. And it's sad to see that because they're like our sister school and our sister band, and I know some people there.
Do you know if they were flying? Like what?
I don't know.
Uh,
They're going to Ireland. So, and it's devastating to see that. And there's so many things that are uncertain in the world right now because we don't know when this is going to stop, and we don't know what's going to happen when it does stop.
Wasn't the travel ban put that night or like
That-
that,
that same-
night? That
Pretty much
very
the
night.
same day,
Yeah, imagine that, dude.
It wasn't that they couldn't go there, it's that they were going to have a lot of trouble getting back,
Yeah.
and they were going to have a lot of trouble once they get there.
They'd be
Anyway,
like once they get back, they'd be like quarantined and
Yeah,
stuff.
they're also
That was-
like actual school trips, like our school trips.
You have
like, to
tours?
Italy,
Yeah.
that were canceled.
I'm so glad I went to Europe last year.
Yeah, same.
That was fun.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, it was fun.
Nice to see that.
Yeah.
Oh, and also-
yeah, it was fun.
It was
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, same, yeah, same.
Yo,
same.
Yeah,
how about this? Spring break, let's go camping, huh? Like that idea?
That sounds fun.
All right.
In Big Bear.
Ooh.
Big Bear.
Say less,
Yeah,
bro.
because it was
Let's
snowing
go
a lot.
Let's
I
go
want to go snowboarding.
Yes.
Also, people who, like I said, to continue, who lose their jobs from those sports organizations who had to suspend their season, and those colleges who had to close down or at least cancel all the in-person classes. Those people are affected too. This is truly like we're learning economics right now, and this is truly an economic
Confusing
crisis.
Time. This is a confusing time.
Yeah, it's a confusing time.
See, what I'm trying to think is like, put a kind of a dark positive spin on this in a way. Give everybody the virus, therefore no one has to fear of catching it. Just think about that for a second.
So
And
moving on
the
to our
amount-
next segment.
Wow.
And then millions die.
Yes.
Watch it.
Millions just eradicate the elderly and
Hey,
sick
you know.
and disabled.
I was kidding.
It's okay, they weren't fit to it. I'm joking.
We shall test Darwin's theory.
Okay. Survival of the fittest.
This is what you call social Darwinism, boys.
Okay.
Let's play a game, shall we?
Population needs to be culled today.
I'm not gonna lie. I find like the weather very poetic. As if you could look outside right now, it got brighter. See, dark time. There's always some hope.
There
you
is
know?
always, and I'll talk about it later when we do our ending appreciations. But
Yeah.
one of the good things that came out of this is how the world has come together because of it. In a time, in an era, in a time of all this violence and disagreements and
Because of
Just-
politics.
because of politics, because of race, whatever, right? And in that time, we're coming together to combat this, and I think that's a good sign for humanity.
Yeah.
I'll go further into it later, but
You got that appreciation.
No, but even then, China try to keep it on the down low,
no,
I mean,
they try to blame the U.S. for it.
and they try to blame the US afterwards.
Yeah.
We could
After
start the
US started blaming
appreciations
China.
now. Look at the time. Look at the time.
No, I want to keep going a little bit.
Alright.
I was gonna say something.
Okay, Josh.
I honestly
Alright,
think
brother.
I think this is.
Continue.
I have a conspiracy theory that
What's the theory, brother?
this was
Hit us with
created
it.
in a lab that accidentally got leaked.
You know, I had a conspiracy.
So like what?
Okay,
Like
I had a
because
population
theory
control.
that-
is that what you're trying to say?
Because it of course it's a conspiracy theory, but you don't. Of course, this is a conspiracy theory, but every country in the world has population control viruses
Of their own.
hidden somewhere, and for not only for population control but for biological.
You know
warfare.
Resident Evil? You know the Umbrella Company and
Yeah.
stuff like that? Oh, no,
With the T virus, or whatever it's called.
yeah.
T50 something. I
Some-
don't know, I can't
I
remember.
forgot what I saw a post, but it was like it kind of had the same logo. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's very interesting.
Spider-Man, Devil's Breath.
So this
Something you
my
might
theory
understand.
is that.
Yeah.
My theory is that
Oh yeah, elbow.
this is one of those population control or biological warfare weapons that was kept by China and it accidentally got leaked.
Why? It's so ineffective.
Nathan Nguyen, if you're listening to this, he just said China. Okay, I had to say that.
That's gonna hurt
Yeah.
the people's ears.
So
We're
let's move on.
sorry.
He's gonna understand that.
So let's move on. In closing, ending appreciation.
Simon,
Sam,
you
you
went
go.
last, so you go first.
You are the host this week.
Yes,
you
sir.
started.
I am the host
off.
this week, boys. Hello, sir.
Started off, baby.
Yes.
I am very appreciative.
That was it. Did you guys hear that?
He's just appreciative.
Very appreciative. Josh, you may go ahead.
All right.
Alright.
Sam, you
Are
close.
you
You
really?
close us off then. Close us off then.
You'll close it. Okay.
You get time
So-
to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So my appreciation, like I was hitting at earlier, is how people have come together because of the virus. Like I really think that it's a good sign for humanity how we're kind of coming together as a human race to combat this tragedy, right? And you see lots of things. Now it's not all bad news in media, in the news media at the moment.
Hey, China's emissions
hear-
went down. You about that? Yeah.
But you see good stories of like athletes and celebrities doing everything they can to kind of fight against it, and there's kind of everyone in the world right now is going through some confusing times and some dark times. So what I'm calling you guys to action, if you hear this, is try to be as pleasant as you can, because especially now, almost everyone is going through some sort of struggle. And if you're that one person to act pleasantly to people, that'll make a difference in their lives. And if everyone does that, then we'll fight this thing together and we'll win.
Okay,
basically.
just for that, I'm gonna have to find some epic music and put it in post. Just for that, because that was very epic. I feel
that in post.
I feel that invigoration right now. You know, that in post.
Yeah. So that's my thing.
I like to go next.
Be nice to people
Yeah.
these days.
So I'm kind of not like verbatim with what Josh said, but like kind of like the same epic thing. Whoa. I want to say like I want to give a shout out to all those people who just aren't scared of anything. Oh, bless you.
Thank you.
I want to give a shout out to all those people who are, very proactive and just like, kind of are like the rip the bandage off kind of people. They just like say it, no filter, and like hope for the best, like that. if try to be more like that, you know. Try to be very apt, like tell that person what you want to tell them, something like that. Yeah, I appreciate those kind of people, and you know, those the kind of people like, you know, they kind of bring a lot of people up in the world.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, don't be so bad. Like, hey, look at this, you know, something like that. Yeah, I like those people a lot.
Jen,
Yeah.
So yeah,
you're doing something.
the two things that, or like the things that Josh and Travis brought up, like I'm very grateful for that as well. But I think I'm just gonna dedicate at least my like appreciation to my grandma because she's such an MVP because she found out like last night because she has an Instagram and like she was scrolling.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Gma. And she was scrolling through my stories and she saw like my screenshot of like the email that we got from AUHSD about how like all the campus was, you know, we're shutting down, right? She took that so seriously. So this morning I woke up and like on the table I found like about like 5 days worth of food there.
Damn.
Yeah, because she was like, oh, I know you're gonna be home like for like 2 weeks, so you know I'm starting to prepare, and she made me some great food. And I'm very grateful for that.
Hey, you got any of those pesto sandwiches left
Great
over?
food, huh?
Got any of those pesto sandwiches left over? Those was pretty good. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
I mean, yeah.
Yo, I love pesto.
Pesto's amazing.
Okay.
All right,
well,
Simon, end us off. End us off in the best way possible, baby.
I am
Hit us with it.
very appreciative.
Dang it!
How did I forget what I was gonna say?
Appreciative, period. That's it. He's just
Oh,
appreciative.
I'm very appreciative for my brother. My brother's coming home.
That's what's up.
And
For more?
on Tuesday, on Wednesday, from Canada. Hopefully he doesn't get quarantined.
Canada.
So that would be kind of dope if he were to come home without any problems. Okay, and anyways, this was the Boys Podcast. Thank you all for watching and or listening. Please like and subscribe, and if you have any comments telling us what we could do better, we would very much appreciate them.
Segment suggestions.
Yeah, we should put a poll on our stories
Yeah.
and say give us segment suggestions.
Yeah,
or, like,
segment
topics to talk about.
suggestions.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Stay safe. Wash those hands.
We love you.
I'm gonna go wash my hands.